Hello there. A warm welcome to Proactive London. Michael Laurie is joining us today from Symphony Environmental Technologies because you've said that several key deals are now finally nearing closure, and you've provided sort of an assessment as well of your prospects to the markets recently as well. So we're going to get an idea as to how you're sort of performing. You've got these inflection points coming up as well, and just kind of what the outlook is for your company. So it sounds like you're just kind of on the brink for all of this hard work to come to fruition. Michael, good to see you.
Yes, indeed. I think you described it pretty well. We're definitely very much on the brink, and a lot of these major projects of ours is getting pretty much closed, near the closure. But just as a recap, what are we saying in our preliminary results that we just recently announced? And I guess probably one of the most significant ones are the US FDA and Canadian food approval that we've got for using our D2P technology in bread packaging. And this was and is a major breakthrough because it's like 8 to 10 years of development work that's now getting close to the commercial moving ahead part. Although one could say, and we have said, that we've actually started to go commercial. Small commercial volumes of our D2P in this bread application is currently being used, which is great. It just proves that we've got a commercial start to something that we believe will be very large, significant, because it's got a much bigger value than our biodegradable technology. So yes, one of our major technologies that I would like to really underline in this discussion is the US FDA D2P technology for bread preservation, also now approved in the Canadian markets. If I move on from the antimicrobials to what we're doing with the Indorama Corporation. The Indorama Corporation is one of the world's largest PET producers, but they are also in chemicals and in various other commodity plastics. And we created a joint venture with them in India. That joint venture linked into a manufacturing operation, and that was agreed November last year and finally signed off, completed, approved in February of this year. So the team's are already in place, the office is there, the manufacturing has actually started at a time that the government of India, from the latest information that we're getting, is legislating to ban all single-use plastics or to put some form of awful restriction on the use of them by July this year, unless they were a green type product that might be biodegradable, such as what our technology does. D2W will make an ordinary plastic biodegrade in the open environment, and that means in the oceans, the rivers, and on land. It ticks all the boxes. So we're pretty excited about having a strong, solid partner in India that's got great connections, and we've got a great team in India, and things are moving really very quickly there. And we're hoping to update shareholders again very soon on this major part to our business that we believe will move the dial. And then of course, it's not just about our biodegradable technologies, which are gaining momentum globally, but going back to our antimicrobials, what we're doing in gloves. It's been a long process, as indeed all regulatory processes are, to get approval to sell a glove, a household, or a nitrile disposable in the EU markets, now separately the UK markets, and then of course the United States markets. And we've identified significant customers that are looking to buy large volumes once these approvals come through. So we're pretty excited about that. We believe it's only the most important step is to complete the regulatory process, and that's going pretty much to plan. So pretty happy on that front.
Good. Well, thank you for that. Just while we've got you here as well, you and many other companies are currently dealing with sort of high shipping costs and also delays as well. In terms of logistics, how much of an impact is that sort of having on your day-to-day sort of functioning as a company?
Well, I'm happy to say we got a brilliant logistics team because we invested quite seriously into strengthening our staff, which include buying, innovations, and all of that was covered within the logistics. So it's gone pretty well. I think without it, although we did get some delays, I think without it, the delays would have been far, far more extreme. Going forward, we're getting a lot more intelligent information. We're knowing how to get around the issues. Biggest issue, of course, is cost. Ukraine, Russia has caused a major, major problem in oil, and just about everything is linked to oil. Your guess is as good as mine. How long does it go on for? And our ability to be able to pass cost on. And we're in that process of passing those costs on to end users. And from our experience and what we've seen so far, we're not the first to say delays of shipment or increasing costs as a result of raw material price increases or transportation. It's just a sign of the times, but I don't really think it's going to be that long term.
Okay. And as you say, sort of you and everybody else is having to deal with that as well. And just in a nutshell, for those investors that don't know what you do, how would you kind of describe what you do? So you specialize in technologies, plastics and rubber products, but what exactly do they do?
What do we do? It's a very, very good question. And for the investors that don't know us, and we do encourage investor interaction, it's very, very simple. We have an additive technology that you put into ordinary plastics or the manufacture of rubber products that will make it do something different. So we can take an ordinary piece of plastic, add our 1% of our additive into the extrusion, that's the manufacturing process, and we can then control the speed of that product decaying, changing from a plastic material to biodegradable materials, and turning it from plastic to biodegradable materials so that natural microorganisms can consume it. And so it's a non-disruptive. So for example, we can go to a large manufacturer, I don't know, Unilever, they consume a lot of plastics. And if they get a move to one of our technologies, the first thing would be they wouldn't like to see a new supplier. I think the time process to get in is too long, too many trials, too many tests. But when you have an disruptive technology like ours, you go to an existing supplier and you add to their value. So the speed of entry into the market is so much faster. So in terms of gloves, we don't make gloves. We don't want to sell too many gloves, although we do. But we work between the large supermarket, if you like, that might sell tens of millions, hundreds of millions of gloves, and the manufacturer, add our technology to it. And at that point, we can say, your gloves have now got antimicrobial protection. It will kill the coronavirus in less than 10 minutes. 99.99% kill. Pretty good going. So it's a non-disruptive technology that goes into an existing supply that upgrades the current product. And that extends from making plastics biodegradable or making them antiviral or antimicrobial to stop cross-contamination, or even to make them flame retardant or rodent repellent. You can imagine when you have irrigation pipes, a lot of water flowing through it, but there's also a lot of insects and attraction to the water. So they will try and drill their teeth into the pipes and cause additional perforation holes. So having our technology in there makes them say, well, this is not very tasty. We're going to go somewhere else. So it repels those insects. So we've got those repellents. We've got our flame retardant, because plastics is a petroleum product. If you light a match to it, it ignite. But put our technology into it, it just snuffs out. it doesn't ignite. Where is it important? It's very, very important in the airline industry. Everything that you put on an aircraft must be flame retardant. If we now look at our Middle East operations or some of our other operations in those intense hot areas where they use a lot of plastics, but they ignite. You've probably seen headlines to Burj Khalifa bursting into flames. So everything they want to do is flame retardant. So we've in the course of the last 5 to 6 years have developed some amazing additive technology. We don't make the plastic sheets, we supply them to the manufacturers, for the end user to upgrade their current product. Bit of a more than a nutshell, Katie, but I hope that explains it.
Certainly does. So safer and more sustainable as well. Michael, thank you very much indeed for that explanation, and just for a good roundup and catch up as to how you're getting on that Symphony Environmental Technologies. That's Michael Laurier.
Thank you.